Microsoft has been given approval by the CMA to acquire Activision Blizzard. This was the final roadblock in the acquisition. The CMA, of course, is a British agency which had some concerns relating to streaming and other bits and pieces, which resulted in Bobby Kotick losing his mind because everybody else approved the deal apart from the CMA, who are part of the British government, or maybe they're not part of the government, but they're an official government body. And they basically said, no, you need to make some changes. Bobby didn't like this, so he went around saying things like this. So this is from Tom Warren. He's the senior editor at The Verge. And Bobby, if you guys remember this, he said, if the deal doesn't go ahead, then the UK will become a death valley of investment. It's a bit of a threat. You know, it's like, I'm Bobby Kotick, I'm mates with all the big tech guys. If you don't let my deal go through, then you'll become a death valley of investment. Because you've got to remember, Bobby Kotick is somebody who normally gets what he wants. Money talks in most countries, unfortunately, and he can do things like death threats to members of staff, then actually not go to prison and all other things. Anyway, I digress. So let's move on. This is what Tom Warren says. He says, the timing. Here's Activision Blizzard's CEO, Bobby Kotick, meeting with the UK Chancellor. Now, just to give you an idea, the Chancellor is the guy in charge of the money in the UK. It is literally the second most powerful position in the country behind the Prime Minister. They decide where the budget goes, right? It's a very powerful position. And again, it just shows you that Bobby Kotick's got access to these people because of the world he operates in. The guy's a billionaire. They produce loads of money for this country through the game sales, through studios. In fact, do they actually have that many studios in this country? I'm not really sure what Activision Blizzard is running in this country specifically, but the gaming industry as a whole, right, in the UK, it's pretty big. Anyway, Bobby's here in a picture the day that the CMA go, you know what, you can go ahead and have your deal, Bobby. It's all, and wait till you see the picture of Bobby. It's just unreal. Anyway, like Bobby goes on to say, just as the CMA, well, Tom goes on to say, then Bobby will say, Tom says, just as the CMA provisionally approves Microsoft's Activision deal, Kotick previously said the UK would become a death valley of investment and opportunity if the deal didn't go ahead. And then we get this tweet from the Treasury, right? So HM Treasury. I was going to say Her Majesty's Treasury, but it's His Majesty's Treasury, isn't it, these days? Anyway, the UK video games industry contributes 2.8 billion to our economy and employs 27,000 people across the country. The Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, a very unfortunate name for a politician, and I remember when he was in charge of the NHS. Anyway, he had a meeting with top US video game companies where he spoke about the UK's thriving creative sector and why we're a good place to invest. So please, Bobby, invest. Anyway, Bobby was clearly only here because he wanted to get his deal through. Because Bobby, as far as we understand, is going to be shoved out the door as soon as this deal goes through. At least that's what everyone expects to happen, especially considering comments that Phil Spencer has made saying that, you know, well, he was insinuating that Bobby won't be making the decisions anymore. So Bobby will be out the door. I mean, I think Bobby's out the door. He's got to go. Anyway, here's a picture, right? A load of great stuff, right? Let's have a look at the next picture. Okay, nice action shot. Jeremy Hunt doing a deal. Okay, good stuff. This one, look at him above me. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in on this because I don't think I can actually. But you guys get the idea, right? Look at his face. No wonder he's smiling because he's literally just about to get a multi-hundreds of millions of dollars parachute payment for getting the deal over the line with Microsoft. Yeah. Also, this image is really weird. Why have they got plants in a cupboard? What is going on here? Are these actual plants or are they just plastic? What kind of decor is this? Also, they've got the water in a box is better stuff. Yeah, very fancy government. It's nice to see where the tax funds go. Anyway, like I said, Bobby's loving this because the deal is done. So let's see what Bobby goes and says because Bobby is quite happy about this. So there's a tweet from Activision Blizzard. It says, as CEO, Bobby Kotick, what an absolute... no, it doesn't say that. has shared an update on the CMA's preliminary approval. Well, let's go and have a look at this update. So here it is. This is on the Activision Blizzard newsroom website. The latest step in the UK for Microsoft, for the Microsoft deal. The CMA issued a preliminary approval of our merger with Microsoft. This is critical to completing the deal. So then Bobby goes on to say, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick sent the following email to all employees. Team, I want to share an important update on... What even is this? I want to share an important update on our planned merger with Microsoft. Today, the UK regulatory authority, the CMA, issued a preliminary approval of our merger with Microsoft based on the solutions Microsoft presented in connection with the new merger application. This approval is critical to completing our merger. The next step is for the CMA to gather what is this? I don't want to quote, get lost, stupid website functionality. No one wants that. Go away. Anyway, the next step is for the CMA to gather third-party feedback, after which the CMA will reach a final decision. As I said when we announced the deal, this transaction will help us accelerate our ambitions for the future of gaming and enable us to better serve our players. Microsoft recognizes the commitment to excellence and creative independence that has served us well for the last 30 years. I'm confident that their resources, technology, and tools will provide us even greater opportunities to create even better games. Now, like I said, we don't even think Bobby's going to be here. As soon as this deal goes through, he's out the door, he's gone, right? If Bobby remains, it'll be a major PR disaster for Microsoft. But maybe Microsoft don't care. Who knows? Hopefully, he is gone, though. This is a significant milestone for the merger and a testament to our solutions-orientated work with regulators. I remain optimistic as we continue the journey towards completion, and I'm very grateful to each of you for your dedication and focus throughout the process. As the regulators continue their process, I will keep you updated on our progress towards our expected closing. With gratitude, Bobby Kotick. All right, whatever. We don't care what you've got to say, Bobby. Obviously, Bobby's going to be happy because he's going to make a ton of money, like a literal ton of money. Anyway, he's already a billionaire anyway. He needs more money because it's whatever. So Brad Smith, now he is the vice chair and president of Microsoft. This is what he says about the government's ruling from the CMA. We are encouraged by this positive development in the CMA's review process. We've presented solutions that we believe fully address the CMA's remaining concerns related to cloud game streaming, and we will continue to work towards earning approval to close prior to the October the 18th deadline. Okay, obviously Microsoft are happy that they're going to be able to go through with the purchase. Now, this is the share price of Activision Blizzard. So it's not going to go any higher than this because we're basically at the point of what Microsoft are going to buy it out at. Now, you will see something quite interesting here. So this goes back year to date. And you can obviously see it was down here at 75. If we go back 5 years, you'll see there was quite a big dip here. There was a lot of things happening at the company there. All these issues. But then it sort of stabilizes here. So if we go back here to the year to date, you can sort of see, drops off a cliff there. It slowly sort of recovers. But here, it looks like this is when the stock market decided this deal would go through. And I believe this is around the time when all the other relevant bodies approved this, especially in the United States, and I think the EU also approved the deal, but the UK didn't. It was the only stepping block, but basically it shot up, and it's kind of remained stable. I mean, if we look at the last month, you can see, yeah, it's gone up from the 22nd to the from the 23rd to the 22nd. It's only gone up a few dollars or so, but that's from the CMA basically saying, yeah, look, it's ready to go. So what this means is the deal is done. This company will be sold to Microsoft. So let's take a look at what has actually been approved by the CMA and what they were asking for. So this is on VGC, and they say this. The UK regulator has provisionally approved Microsoft's Activision acquisition. Selling cloud rights to Ubisoft opens the door to the deal being cleared, the CMA says. UK regulator, the Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, has provisionally agreed to allow Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. The CMA has remained the last major roadblock to the deal closing and initially blocked the acquisition in April due to concerns of its impact on the cloud gaming market. Microsoft attempted to restructure its proposed acquisition by agreeing to sell cloud rights streaming to Ubisoft, leading the CMA to launch a new merger inquiry. This move is now seemingly enough to satisfy the CMA, which has posted its provisional decision today. And this is what they say. While the CMA has identified limited residual concerns with the new deal, Microsoft has put forward remedies which the CMA has provisionally concluded should address these issues, the statement reads. It adds, while the restructured deal is materially different to the previous transactions and substantially addresses most concerns, the CMA has limited residual concerns that approved provisions in the sale of Activision's cloud streaming rights to Ubisoft could be circumvented, terminated, or not enforced. To address these concerns, Microsoft has offered remedies to ensure that the terms of the sale of Activision's rights to Ubisoft are enforceable by the CMA. The CMA has provisionally concluded that this additional protection should resolve those residual concerns. The CMA has now opened a consultation until October the 6th, after which time it will make a final decision. Unless major objections shed new light on the situation, it should now be expected that the CMA will approve the deal. Following the publication of the CMA's provisional deal decision, Microsoft President and Vice Chairman Brad Smith tweeted, we've been over the tweet, which is great. Commenting on the provisional decision, the CMA's Senior Director of Mergers and Phase 1 decision maker, Colin Rafferty, said he was satisfied that Microsoft's new proposal satisfied the CMA's concerns. This is a new, substantially different deal, which keeps the cloud distribution of those important games in the hands of strong independent supplier Ubisoft, rather than under control of Microsoft. With additional protections to make sure that the deal is properly implemented, this will maintain the structure of the market, enabling open competition to continue to shape the development of cloud gaming in the years to come, giving the UK gamers the opportunity to access Activision's games in different ways, including through cloud-based multi-game. I said multi-grain. It's like multi-grain bread. Multi-game subscription-based services. So what does all of this mean? Well, it means that the deal is going to go ahead, right? Microsoft will own Activision Blizzard. So that means that it will come under the Xbox kind of umbrella. Phil Spencer will now be the guy in charge of all Activision Blizzard titles. And they will be, I think, some games very quickly will be disseminated onto their platform. So we'll probably get like Diablo 4. You're probably going to get Overwatch. These games will go straight into Game Pass. Valorant is already on Game Pass, where you... if you've got the top tier subscription, I think you get all the agents for free, don't you, in Valorant? Expect a similar thing for Overwatch. Like Diablo is going to be there most likely. And then eventually all the Blizzard games will be on there. I'm not sure what will happen to World of Warcraft. Maybe you'll get a WoW subscription included with the Game Pass subscription. I don't know. Maybe that's pushing it a little bit too much, because WoW still does make a ton of money. But who knows, right? Because Microsoft will own all of the IPs. But I want to show you guys this, because I think this is really interesting. So this is, I'll just read this off. And it's about Phil Spencer's ideology of the way big game companies develop games, right? And if you're a fan of Overwatch, and even Diablo to some extent, and probably World of Warcraft as well, but definitely Overwatch, this is going to feel quite sad. So check this out. Phil Spencer lays out how third-party publishers failed to adapt to digital storefronts and now subscription services, and are now trying to leverage giant risky investments in 200 to 300 million blockbusters to survive. So this is taken from the, obviously from all the documents that were leaked. But what I want to read here is just the bottom of this. I know I'm kind of covering this at the bottom. Let me see if I can just move myself over here. There we go. I'll go over there. There we go. So down the bottom here, it says, in the new world where AAA publishers don't have real distribution leverage with consumers, they don't have production efficiencies with their new IP hit rate, it is not disproportionately higher than the industry average. We see that the top franchises today were mostly not created by AAA game publishers. Games like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, Candy Crush, Clash Royale, Dota 2, etc. were all created by independent studios with full access to distribution. Overall, this, in my opinion, is a good thing for the industry, but does put AAA publishers in a precarious spot moving forward. AAA publishers are milking their top franchises, but struggling to refill their portfolio of hit franchises. Most AAA publishers are riding the success of franchises created 10 years ago. Right, so that's what Phil Spencer thinks, yeah? And honestly, he is a top-level executive in the gaming industry. That last line about these big publishers just milking their IPs, that is exactly what is happening to Overwatch 2 right now. Overwatch 2 is just Overwatch, but it's 5v5, right? Okay, there's other balance changes, a couple of new game modes, whatever, but it's functionally, on a foundational level, the same game, right? A lot of the stuff that we've got visually, a lot of the characters that we're still playing, everything else, the maps are still playing, they're all from Overwatch 1. But the big difference is, it has been designed to hyper monetize the audience. It has been designed to try and get loads of people on at minimal development cost, right? So let's go free to play. Let's try and get loads of people on the game through the door. Let's just ramp up monetization and try and generate as much money as possible. The problem is that's milking a franchise to death. We end up in the situation we're in now, where Overwatch feels like it's flagging, it's sort of stagnating, it's almost fading away. It's almost becoming, I guess you could say, the fan base is becoming quite apathetic to the game, which I think is very dangerous, because no longer are people really annoyed with decisions. They're just like, okay, whatever, it's Overwatch. That's not great, because your fans, even if they're angry, they're still going to be engaged in your game. But if they just don't care, well, then they just don't care, right? Anyway, I think a lot of that is because of the way, the games have been milked throughout the years. Honestly, I seriously think it is, and especially in the case of Overwatch. So what has this got to do with Activision Blizzard now being owned by Microsoft, right? Or come the end of the year, they'll be owned by Microsoft. I think, there may be a change in the way that game development is approached. I think way back when the deal was announced, I was really excited because Blizzard was in a terrible place. Activision, I'm not too fussed about Activision, but Blizzard was in a terrible place. So I seen this as almost like a shining light. It was like, oh, okay, they can save Blizzard, right? The mess of Blizzard can be fixed. I looked at things like Game Pass and I thought, you know what? The Game Pass model might actually make games like StarCraft 3 a possibility. Bobby Kotick would never approve the development of StarCraft 3 because it's not going to make enough money. He wants games that at minimum are making $1 billion every year. StarCraft 3 would never make $1 billion. It's an RTS game. That's never going to happen, right? But in the Game Pass model, it might do. Look at Age of Empires, right? New Age games have been released. They even release expansions to Age of Empires 2. New expansions, that is, right? They can't be cost effective, but they are when they're wrapped up inside of the Game Pass model, right? And they're a Microsoft-owned studio developing the game. So I think there are things that might work in our favor like that. Obviously, the negatives can be quite substantial. And this isn't going to be something we're going to be able to experience for a while, I don't think. There could be things like Microsoft can be quite ruthless. It can start just cutting things back and going, we're not going to, this is gone, that's gone, we're going to remove this, we're going to cut this down. Typically, they don't generally go in and wholesale clean out game studios that they buy. They let them carry on running, but they do have a bit of input, right? We've seen this with Bethesda, and you can sort of see Microsoft pushing them in certain directions. Now, for Blizzard, what could this mean? Well, we already know that Phil Spencer wants new IPs to be created. He doesn't just want the same old IPs being churned out. He doesn't just want the existing IPs to be milked to death. We do know Blizzard have got a survival game under development. Maybe that's going to be an interesting game. It's a new IP. Apart from that, we don't really know what Blizzard is doing, apart from what we can currently play right now. So how could that change with Microsoft basically owning the company? Well, I think we're already seeing some elements of this. We're seeing things like the downscaling of Overwatch League for Overwatch 2. It's not profitable. In any world, this just isn't profitable for the teams. It's not profitable for the game company. It's just not profitable for anybody. So they are getting rid of that and scaling it down. I think if Blizzard didn't do that in advance of being bought out at the end of this year and going forward into next year, it could have just been abruptly cancelled as Microsoft come in and go, well, this doesn't make money, we're going to get rid of it. Now, Microsoft do run esports of their own. Like I said, there is various Age of Empires 2 competitions that run, although they're only kind of small. There's the Halo stuff as well. That seems to do okay. Again, it's not massive viewership, but it's like okay. There's been talk recently of merging together Call of Duty League and Overwatch and all of this stuff and just doing it all on one weekend sort of event, so it's not spread out. There's a lot of options. There was talk of ESL coming on board, although I think that's super sketchy, but whatever, to do sort of mini tournaments for Overwatch next year. But the fact is, this is going ahead now. This deal is happening. It means big changes for Blizzard. And I think if I was to go out on a limb and say what could be the most wildly positive thing here for Blizzard, it would be if Microsoft allow them to almost become their own company again, within the Microsoft world, right? So Blizzard go back to just focusing on developing really, really high quality good games instead of what they're trying to do now, which is just pillage existing franchises and ram in like moronic monetization, stupid prices, terrible items, things people just don't want. And it's just sad to see because we know that game studio still has talent. I know a lot of people have moved on, but there is still talent there. If you let these people thrive, they will give you the next Overwatches, the next World of Warcrafts, and that's what the gaming industry needs. But the thing is, it's going to take years and years and years for us to see any kind of results. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you are watching this video and you're like, what is this? Unit Lost is my other channel. And it's kind of weird because Unit Lost used to be my original identity online. It used to be me and a guy called Kirioff. We did sort of like Let's Play stuff. This is honestly getting off 10 years ago now. And then it morphed into me. That channel then changed into Stylosa because it was just me because Kirioff moved on. And I like Overwatch, so I made a lot of Overwatch videos. But this channel is almost going back to the way I was before. And what I'm going to try and do is do more coverage of gaming industry news stuff, discussion stuff, because I do read a lot about this, and I think we can have some really cool conversations back and forth. Yeah, so let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'm just going to keep doing this, guys. And also, do check me out on TikTok, where I am doing gaming news on TikTok. It's doing really well, actually. I'm getting a couple of million views a week on that, which is pretty cool. And that's just TikTok. I think it's /@StylosaUL, but I am trying to get it changed to Stylosa, but I don't know whether that'll be successful. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. See you soon.